Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I, broadcast special correspondent with governance, now welcome you all at Tech Masterclass for State Government. The Masterclass is designed to discuss the technology challenges and initiatives of state government concerning technology, cloud adoption, data centers, and cybersecurity to transform government to citizens and government to government services. The conclave is a knowledge sharing and capacity building platform. Therefore, we request you share as many questions as you can. We would be happy to answer them in the permissible time limit and also after the session offline. There will be live interaction after the panel discussion. If you would like to ask a question, please mention your question along with the name of the panelist the question is intended to. And do keep your hand raised using the raise hand button in your panel. We will try to take as many questions. And yes, good question will get acknowledgement and giveaways too. If you have any queries or concerns, please keep us posted through question box or chat box you have. And also, if you have the phone number of our coordinators, please feel free to call them for any technical difficulty or challenge. Without further delay, I would like to introduce the session speakers and the session on transforming governance in states with digital connect. And I invite today's session speakers, Shri Santulan Chaubey, Joint Director and CISO Department of IP Government of Delhi. Welcome, sir. Shri Sunit Bhattacharjee, DGM Governance Webel Technology Limited. Welcome, sir. Shri Kapil Kamal, Joint Director, Center for Development of Advanced Computing, CDAC. Welcome, sir. And Shri Andy, Senior Director, Cloud Solution Architecture, APJ VMware. Welcome. And Shri A.S. Rajgopal, MD and CEO, NxtGen Infinite Data Center. And our moderator of the session, Shri Rajesh Ranjan, Associate Director, Government Advisory, KPMG. Over to you, Rajesh.
Thank you, Pragya. Good morning, everyone, all the attendees, our esteemed panelists. I welcome you all on behalf of this Tech Masterclass for State Governments. So the theme on hand we have is transformation of governance through digital connect, especially the case in discussion are the states. So I have been in this industry, particularly the digital government industry, sometimes what we call the governance industry, for a long time now. And you all have seen, from the early 2000s and 2005 and 6, there has been a great focus in terms of how the services were getting delivered to the citizen across the country. States being the key role players, the key stakeholders. And initially in the national e-governance plan, the focus was, of course, transforming governance first in states, then scaling it up to the various levels. And what we have seen over the years that in many cases, it were the states who led the transformation. Many of the state initiatives went on to become national initiatives. And then, some of the programs from the center which were created were executed pretty well by some of the states, which became a model for other states. But there has been a journey actually. There was a journey. Initially, there was a focus in terms of just digitizing, the things which were paper-based. Let's go about automation. Let's go about workflow-based systems, and at least enable the citizen to be online and then avail the services. Over a period of time, what we have seen, there has been a paradigm shift. Paradigm shift also has been forced by the change in technology which has been there, the kind of uptake that has been there, the kind of increase in the number of stakeholders, especially the users which were there, the kind of penetration that has happened in terms of the internet and broadband. And once the mobility has come into place, the kind of affordability that the telcos have now brought in terms of data being cheapest in the world, all of it has forced us to think in a different way. You all know how things have gone on from a data center to a cloud-based model, how things have gone from a web to a mobile first strategy that has been there. Along with that, a lot of other concerns have also come in. So today's panel, what I see, it represents a very well balanced kind of a representation from the industry and the states which have led some of the initiatives. And while I see, what the industry has done over a period of years, particularly, the NxtGen and VMware kind of organizations, the security challenges, the transformation challenges that have been thrown up because of, change in technologies, because of the approach changes that the governments have had over the years, they have also played a key role. We have among us, first of all, I would, like to invite Mr. A.S. I think Andy Karandikar to have a presentation on the technologies that VMware is bringing into that space, changing the digital space in terms of transformation and the digital connect that is happening. Over to you, Mr. Andy.
Thank you, Rajesh. Can you see my presentation? I would.
Not right now.
Andy, we can see.
Is visible.
Now it is.
All right. Excellent. All right. Thank you. First of all, welcome to the session today, and I hope everybody is staying safe. The digital transformation is a journey that is not just destination; it's a journey, and it's as significant as the industrial revolution. In fact, it's now often said that there are decades when nothing happens, and then there are weeks when decade happen. What we have seen in the last few months has been this phenomenal acceleration of digital transformation and relevance for the world, and there's no going back. You've probably seen this, what you see on the left hand side, this light-hearted joke that was going around on WhatsApp and other social media. Who has led the digital transformation for your organization? And the right answer is not any of the CXO, but it's COVID, right? And we've seen this. It's how quickly organizations, whether it's within the commercial sector or within the government sector, have quickly adapted to this rapid change. On the right hand side, you see Satya Nadella pointing out that they have seen 2 years of digital transformation in just a matter of 2 months, and this is actually old news. The acceleration continues with most of the customers that we see. Now, there are several factors that are driving digital transformation. Initially, it's being the resiliency and business continuity. What we saw within the COVID situation, most customers were and organizations were required to do this rapid adaptation to this dramatic change, where most companies, most organizations were probably prepared to work remotely for about maybe 10-15% of their workforce. They had to quickly take up that to 90%. The expectations from customers that everything be delivered as a service economy is something that's becoming very common. The third aspect is the distributed workforce, whether it's across tier 1 and tier 2 cities, or it's literally globalization of that workforce. Data is a tremendous asset that becomes important to drive insights, new sources of driving revenue, and then of course the biggest thing around digital transformation is the speed of innovation. This is a big portion of why companies go on this journey. Every industry, every sector is being impacted. In healthcare, now we see so much application of virtual care and telehealth adoption, people being able to consult with doctors remotely. We're going to talk a lot about citizen services and in the government, in the education sector, huge disruption, right? We've seen all of our kids and students having to adapt to being work remotely. And if you think about it, all the education, the school, the colleges, their infrastructure has to scale very quickly to be able to respond and keep the engaging model with their students. Financial sector, huge surge in transactions for cashless, online banking, trading, And then in the retail sector, right, the big switch to self-service, e-commerce, pickup services. So in this scenario, VMware has looked at this from the following framework. It's a three-phase framework which consists of respond, which is the reactive stance, classic of what has happened in the last 7-8 months, which is some dramatic event. We need to drive business continuity. How do we quickly make sure that business operations continue in the time of crisis? Most organizations are now getting past that phase. Phase 2 is now figuring out, okay, we just got to a bare minimum state of dealing with the crisis. How do we now turn that reactive into proactive? How do we adapt for business resiliency? This is where most organizations are. And then the third part is the more advanced set of organizations are beginning to think about how do you now not just think proactively, but take the stance to take an innovation stance, not just react, not just be proactive on how to scale, but how do you fundamentally change the velocity of your service delivery, the way you deliver your services, the way you engage with your customers, accelerate your digital transformation journey. Interestingly, VMware has been fortunate that the strategy that we came up with 5 years ago has been, this is the same picture, the same strategy that we have been executing on, which in the most simplest words is any application on any cloud, on any device with intrinsic security built in. And this is something we've not changed the strategy, and we found that it's extremely relevant in the space that we are on. And we've been able to help several customers take along the journey for them to build a digital foundation to help them drive their transformation. From a cloud specific perspective, we built this any cloud part of the strategy, which is allows customers, and a lot of you are good VMware customers, and thank you for the patronage that use VMware to run your mission critical workloads. The beauty of the approach that we have taken is that we allow you to take those workloads and seamlessly put them on any cloud with minimal effort. Many of our customers, and I'll take an example on my next slide, which is of customers who literally move these workloads onto clouds without downtime. It's like doing live vMotions, no business downtime, no changes to the IP address, and seamlessly being able to move to that agile platform, then being ready for driving the next level of innovation for your business. Hybrid cloud and multi-cloud has phenomenal advantages, but it brings significant challenges, specifically in terms of cost, complexity, tooling, skills, and security. And when you are able to leverage your existing platform to be able to do that migration, it's able to tackle a lot of these challenges. So with that, this is my last slide. We've had actually a number of even government customers take advantage of being able to digitize and accelerate their journey. I'm going to take one example here, which is Senitex. Senitex is the IT arm of the Victorian government in Australia. They were challenged with this. They've been a VMware customer for a while, and they found themselves to be in that fortunate place because they had already been on that initial journey. When COVID hit, they were able to service a number of government agencies, a number of government departments, to be able to take literally thousands of their users to start working from home without having downtime. So being able to then accelerate that journey to service their citizens and improve the quality of service, the quality of feedback, satisfaction from their customers, all while keeping their security and privacy to be very high. With that, I'm going to hand it back to the coordinator.
Thank you, Andy. I think very relevant points, in particularly, the forced transformation due to the COVID thing was interesting, and everybody, I think, would acknowledge that has happened. And interestingly, I think how much of it is going to stay is another challenge. When things go back to normal, of course, a lot of would stay. In terms of questions, maybe we could revisit when there's a question queue that is already formed, for each of the speakers. With that, I would like to invite Mr. A.S. Rajgopal, MD and CEO NxtGen, for his presentation, please.
Thanks, Rajan. Sorry, I don't have slides right now, but I just thought I'll take 5 minutes to set kind of outline what is our agenda, so that we make a relevant contribution to this esteemed panel. I think first of all, big thanks to all the panelists. Thank you very much for your time, and there are many of the participants who are investing time from their side. Big thank you for them as well. We are at a pretty unique point. I mean, in my view, actually, it's hard to predict the future, especially before it happens. When we first heard of COVID, basically, we thought it's about saving lives. But the way it evolved, I mean, it is not just about saving lives. It has now become saving livelihood as well. So the thought process has dramatically changed. It's impacted each one of us, and perhaps every citizen in the country got impacted in some form or the other. So I strongly believe that adversity powers human transformation. So at NxtGen, we don't want to look at it as digital transformation, but we want to look at it as human transformation itself. How can we change few things? How can we change the way we work? How can we change the way we improve efficiencies, productivity, reduce cost? These are all about how we actually look at it in terms of humans, and then use, of course, digital technologies to enable it. That's how we are looking at it. In terms of broad agenda for the country, I think one of the key things that that we need to transform is that our agricultural sector is such a low value item. So I think it needs to move up and become a pretty high value agricultural economy. But as it becomes more productive and more higher value, one of the big challenges that comes to the government is to create 10 crore farming jobs, at least non-farming jobs, by at least 2030. This is where all the state governments have a big role to play. It's a big challenge on our side to do it. So I think, as you said, Rajesh, you said that we set some great examples, right? Especially on the IT services side. We created certain global hubs. I still remember. I very closely saw this transformation that happened in the IT services side. In the same way, I think the country has to do similar stuff in healthcare. Definitely, there's a focus on manufacturing. I think manufacturing will anyway happen, but also in high-value agriculture and high-value tourism. Today, we have a huge tourism aspect, but we don't get that high value out of it, so that the people actually make much more money. So I think on one side, one of the agendas could be this global hubs for healthcare, manufacturing, agriculture, and tourism. On the other side, I think we need to improve efficiency about how we work. I think e-governance is already had some early successes. We work with BSNL closely. They're actually looking at going paperless. These are exciting things to do, right? I think if the same thought process is put to financial power and even the work, if we can put that attention around improving efficiencies, use digital technologies to improve those efficiencies, we can definitely transform and actually create those non-farming jobs, which is a critical aspect today. So when we are looking at NxtGen, we have seen many of our customers creating apps. I mean, so in government, I think I've seen almost every department having an app. There are few apps which are successful, few apps which don't move the needle. I've seen how Delhi Police has done. And it's an amazing app that they have, but the usage is very low. So one of the strategies that is not working today is this app strategy. So the point that I wanted to make is there are 28 lakh apps on Google Play Store today. And actually yesterday I was calculating what is the average number of apps that happened on Google Play Store on a daily basis for the last 5 months. The number is 3,753. So what's happening is there is an overwhelming app economy that's happening. So so at NxtGen we are not thinking of apps. I mean, so if it's an app, it cannot be as something that I mean that gets lost in this whole 28 lakh apps, and then perhaps it will double in a couple of years. So the way we are thinking about is that how can we take an agenda as to how can we contribute to a citizen experience? I mean, this is what is our agenda. So it's a human agenda, human transformation agenda that we want to take, which is digitally powered, of course. So the few things that we want to do is try and contribute to increasing trust of the citizens, reducing the risk. Most people don't even think about it, but we really want to see if we can boost the government employee morale, because I think last 6-7 months, almost all the departments have been stretched to a point. Some of the departments are at breaking. So I mean, they are constrained on all fronts, right? So boosting government employee is another, morale is another agenda for us, and we wanted to see how we can help government departments actually, achieve the stated objectives and missions that they do. If we can, contribute to these areas, I think we can contribute to a human transformation that is going to happen post-COVID. And with that, I mean, I leave it to you. So that's our agenda is about human transformation, which is digitally enabled. Over to you, Raj.
Thank you, Mr. Rajgopal. So I think at this point of time, we are very well set, to hand over the stage to the people who have, really mattered in terms of when it comes to delivering the services to citizen and leading the transformation on ground. While we are talking about the opportunities which were generated by the, COVID-19 situation and all, what we also must agree is that things and infrastructure were already in place, to tackle that opportunity and take advantage of that opportunity. And that is where, the states have come such a vital role in, creating all of that ecosystem, the services, the, applications that are now available to the citizen. And one of such examples, I think, Delhi government was, able to handle the COVID-19 situation using IT, in terms of tracking the cases and also, following up with the patients and all. So at this stage, I would just like to invite Sri Santulan Chaubey, who is a Joint Director IT in the Delhi government. Sir, over to you to please explain some of your experiences.
Thank you very much. Good morning. Can you all hear me? Number one.
Yes.
Yes. So everybody can hear. Good. It's a very nice introduction, and I will start where Mr. Rajgopal ji has left. That apps will not run the show. It's very well said, sir. Apps, there are so many apps in this domain, and only app cannot work. So just I will, instead of having many apps, one app for one domain is sufficient. Like Umang in Delhi, in the government of India, where all applications come into one frame, right? So people are happy to have one app on their mobile, and that will go on. There's no issue. So you can do all activities using one app. But making app and running economy for one, for every activity, one app is there. This is not going to go very long. This is how we have learned in this COVID way also. When it started, everybody was saying make app for everything. To collect data, make app. To have reports, make app. That thing will not work. We have learned in hard way that ultimately data collection is a different ballgame. It's not app which will collect the data, which is a data structure and other thing which will actually collect the data and give some output result. Right? Now I come to main thing, where exactly governance work, especially in the COVID time. There are two times basically now. Instead of AC and BC and other thing, now pre-COVID and post-COVID. This is only 2 time era has left, right? So pre-COVID, we have got lots of IT, computer science, your architecture and system development cycle. We used to follow many things to develop an app. Now this thing has gone. Today is the requirement. Tomorrow we have to develop the app. So like one shot of Mr. Bill Gates was there, no, Mr. Satyanarayana was there, that they developed app very fast. In 2 months, they have covered 2 years. Same thing is with Delhi government. For last 3 or 4 months, we have developed many application after application we are developing. We are keep on modifying our applications, right? We are need for having very good cloud services. They will not let us down, and lots of not only COVID is one part. I tell you, providing financial help to the beneficiaries, our migrants, laborers, So all these things are to be taken care of. So that peripheral of the COVID is also very important. Like we have to transfer money to the bank account of the beneficiaries. Auto driver, your permit holders, they all need money right now. They want financial assistance from government immediately. Right? So getting this data was a mammoth challenge. It was not easy, to get this data. So the transformation took place there. Having very fast application cycle, we don't have much time. So within 2 or 3 days, the application should be ready. Right. Second challenge was it should be functioning. There should be no interruption. When we started auto permit things, where we have to pay 5,000 rupees per auto, there was a huge rush. Our servers was getting crashing every day, right? Because rush was very high. People who are eligible and who are not eligible, all were hitting the servers badly, right? So these challenges turned into the transformation. Now what happened actually? We, in addition to NIC servers, we went to private servers also. The MIT and Panelists at 17 list, we searched and we found that yes, we need more computing power. We need backup and backup of backup, because there's no time to see the things right. So this kind of things will go on with the COVID. But even after, transformation is not that only. Transformation is how you provide the citizen services, how the citizen services can be provided efficiently to the last user, right? And what is the delivery? Interestingly, when this COVID time came, we went to WhatsApp. Earlier, our delivery was, we called online, that we will make the certificate, make digitally signed, and the customer will, our citizen will download the certificate. That was the delivery. Now this is proactive delivery. We will send the certificate on the account of the WhatsApp. Right? So this is also one kind of delivery we are doing it, transformation. Other transformation is what information we need. That information is also very much required to be, again formulated, again taken care, that we don't need tons of information. We need just information that we can process, right? So our application forms are now getting smaller. Right? We have got e-district MMP, you must be aware of that. So all the services of Delhi government at one place, right? And after one place, citizen can apply. The outcome may come on digital locker, that may come on WhatsApp, that may come on any platform, on email, so that delivery is easy. Idea is that we should not meet. The idea is that people should not come to office. Idea is that delivery should be time bound. There should not be any concept of uncertainty. If I have applied and my documents are correct, I should get the certificate. Right? There should not be any uncertainty in getting certificate. No. And how I got the certificate? The best thing I see today is the WhatsApp. Everybody has got WhatsApp. If I apply, my certificate should come on my WhatsApp account. I will be most happy citizen in the world if I get everything from government on my mobile itself. So where mobile is more applicable than developing application on that. Existing application, mobile should work on that. Right? That was basically about the transformation from my side. Anything I can answer. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for very informative talk from your side, especially in terms of what needed to be done, not just following the trail what everybody was doing, and then having a customized approach to your unique problem that you are facing. We also have with us Mr. Sunit Bhattacharjee. He's a DGME governance in Webel. So I've been in this industry for so long. What I have seen, West Bengal was one of the pioneers in terms of many of the things. So especially, for example, state data center, if you look at this project which was done, the statewide area networks. So these two projects, I think sir was also personally involved when these were conceptualized. And while I was having a discussion, he told me that when nobody was thinking about it in 2000, West Bengal went ahead and started all of these initiatives on their own. So to come from that background, I would just request her to go ahead and explain his experiences.
Thank you, Rajesh. Actually, before NEGP starts during 2006, West Bengal started with West Bengal State Wi-Fi Network during 2000, just after on the Bodh State Wi-Fi Network. Then we have initiated a lot of transformation process for government process and government service delivery. And the data center was initiated during 2010 as per the directives of National E-Governance Plans. And there we have deployed the cloud and a lot of other things. Then subsequently, we have revamped the data centers. So if we talk about transformation, the digital transformation, it comes about the service delivery transformation. It comes about the infrastructure service transformation. So I am from Webel Technology Limited, popularly known as WTL, and we involved in the entire spectrum of government service delivery and government process. So if we compare data center, the data center which was there during 2010-11, we have completely revamped in a big way during 2018. So now our data center is basically a software-defined data center. We are deploying in phases. We are ready with software-defined network. And there are other building blocks like software-defined storage, software-defined. So all these are there. And as far as the cloud is concerned, we have revamped the cloud platform. We initiated the cloud platform during 2014 as per the guidance of NEGP. And thereafter, during 2018, we have revamped the state data center with a new cloud platform that is based on OpenStack cloud platform. So we want to make it open source, vendor neutral, and a lot of other things, and a lot of other facilities are there. As far as the service delivery is concerned, we are having multiple integrated service delivery platform. We are having e-districts. Mr. Chaubey has told it is same for every state. There are a lot of services, about 154 plus services, online services, G2C and G2B, G2E services are there. We are having adoption of this rapid application development platform, RAD platform. There are basically two platforms. Our EODB, ease of doing business, is running on this RAD platform. we are having the Service Plus platform of NIC, which is also one kind of RAT platform, where we are maintaining this no code, low code. So we have done a lot, and as far as the data center is concerned, we have started with this the own IP pool from AppNIC during 2010, and with multi-homing with multiple ISPs. And we are the first data center who has deployed this Ipv6 on dual stack during that time. So during the COVID time, there are a lot of service development, and all are focused on cloud hosting. A lot of services, online services, a lot of applications are hosted on cloud platform during COVID situation. And I'm having some slides I can give you. So the service delivery platform we have implemented, and it is done in a very faster time. We have seen a lot of process transformation. So as far as that application hosting is concerned at the state data center, we have seen earlier a lot of issues was there regarding the domain registration, then DNS hosting and everything. Now, because of NIC, they are having a digital platform, the eForm-based platform, where within few hours, the domain registration as well as DNS record can be done. So that is a very good job done by NIC. And as far as the transformation is concerned, we are having transformation for the security also. We have deployed the state security operations center, SOC 2.0 at state data center. And this is a very, and all the security subsystems are deployed in data center so that the applications, the data are protected. So we have this DDoS system, we have the next generation firewall, we have all these threat emulator, we are having APT. So a lot of security subsystems are there, because nowadays we have seen that a lot of state-sponsored hackings are taken place, particularly in data center. So every day we are facing that, and our state, the Security Operations Center 2.0 and the entire security subsystems are able to tackle all these threats from external threats. And as I've told you that we are using the OpenStack-based cloud platform, and we are having a radar virtualization platform for hosting of traditional apps. But we are now gradually moving towards deployment of cloud native application, the microservices oriented cloud native applications, the hosting of containerized applications, because we have seen, as Mr. Chaubey has told, that there are a lot of apps where the traffics which are coming from outside, the lot of the valid traffics are there and invalid traffics are there. So that are affecting the performance of application. So we are in the process of implementation of that microservices architecture, the containerized applications, and our data center is ready to host that containerized applications. We are having set up using the OpenShift to deploy the PaaS platform. And there are a lot of sensitization program is going on for development of that cloud native applications. It will take time because the Docker containers and everything is just initiated during 2018. So it will take some time. So as far as the service delivery is concerned, the lot of issues will be resolved with the development of the microservice oriented architecture. As you know that E-District, when it was started during 2014-15, it was service oriented architecture. So there are a lot of deficiencies in that architecture. But now if we deploy application with more and more that microservice oriented architecture, then a lot of our problems will be resolved. And our data center is ready to host these blockchain-based applications because we are having that storage systems which is having the SSD, and for deployment of that blockchain-based applications, we require that kind of storage. So we have deployed many of that blockchain-based applications in data centers. And one of the important part is that as initiated by IT department, we are having Cyber Security Center of Excellence, where we are associated with NCIPC as well as CERTIN for getting all this advisory, security advisory, and we are implementing deploying these advisories which are coming from them, and they are doing well. And it's a very good initiative for Government of West Bengal. And as you know, this Kormo Bhumi is developed during this COVID time because there are a lot of these IT and ITES professionals which we have seen that they have lost their jobs. They want to work locally in West Bengal. So to help them, the IT department has facilitated that Kormo Bhumi portal. It's basically an online job portal where the IT, ITS professionals can get advantages, and they are basically the large pool of that resources has got that the jobs through this Kormo Bhumi portal. And regarding the other e-governance initiatives during COVID time, the lot of implementations are there initiated especially by finance departments, where WTL along with NIC has are involved in development and implementation of those services. And you know, this during 31st July, the state government has owned that prestigious stock, that the Scotch Platinum Award for government redressal portal. It's a very unique portal where the people are benefited. Those who are having grievance, their grievance is redressed properly in a time-bound manner. And a lot of applications are hosted during the COVID time, and all are hosted on with a cloud-first strategy of the state government. And we have implemented within a few days, within once the application is developed, for hosting of the application, it takes time because there are a lot of processes involved. One is the security, application security audit, the VAPT. We are having back-end partners with the certain empaneled auditor who are doing the great job within a few days. So within 2 to 3 days, they are able to give that the report, and the developer, the concerned developer, the closes. So within a shortest possible time, we can host the application on cloud platform, and that is a very robust platform, the secure platform, and it's a basically we are having the automation in deployment of patches, automation in deployment of security advisories, because we are having deployed the Ansible system, and we are having the cloud platform is supported with the entire life cycle management. So whatever issues are there, it is supported, and the automations and everything are there. And the state data center is built on the 10G, 40G network, the leaf and spine network. That is a unique network, and all the servers connected in the server from they are connected with the 10G network with a backbone of 40G network. So that's why the performance of all the applications are very fast now compared to earlier initiations during 2010 onwards. At the time, this leaf and spine, the networks is not there.
Okay, so sir, I think in terms of information, we were able to see a lot has been done by West Bengal government, especially during COVID. And you did elaborate in terms of the approach that you have taken. And while you have gone for the cloud first and transformation type of approaches, so software-based data center, for example, but at the same time, what I was able to make out that the security aspect of it has also been taken care of duly. And that is a very good thing to do, because just expanding the kind of technology offerings is not going to help in the long run. So that is a very valid approach that you. So, so for the rest of the things, we could come back, when there is a question from the audience. Maybe I could also come back when we have some time left to know more about it. We also have with us Mr. Kapil Kant Kamal. He's a joint director at CDAC. So his particular area of interest is mobile governance. And over a period of years, while I was introducing also, I told you typically because of the kind of penetration that has happened in the mobile domain, the kind of mobility that people have now, it is even more important to have a focus on that area in terms of everything, the kind of offerings, the kind of security that is behind the applications or the apps, much discussed right now that we have on our mobile platform. So I would just request Mr. Kapil to elaborate what CDAC has been doing in that governance domain particularly.
Thank you, Ranjan. So first of all, I very well said by the Mr. Bhattacharjee. The journey of the transformation is started in 2006 through the NEGP. So in the NEGP project, Government of India launched 27 mission mode project that will be beneficious for the states. So state can use that project and provide the services to the citizens. So after that, there is a many initiative taken by the Government of India. For example, Mobile Seva. Mobile Seva is an initiative for the mobile governance. In the Mobile Seva initiative, Government of India has provided the all mobile channels like SMS, IVRS, USSD. Also provide the application store where the government department can host their applications. So basic aim of this project is provide the single platform so that any government department can connect through Mobile Seva and provide the services to the citizen. So there is no requirement to float the RFP and no requirement to connect with the individual telecom operators, because in the Mobile Seva, it is already connected with the all major telecom operator that is providing services in India. So, and we also create many applications related to election commission, related to health, so that for state specific, so that state can provide services, transformation services to digitalize more to the citizen. Another initiative is taken by the CDAC is related to the authentication. In the authentication, CDAC is also framework called National Framework for Authentication. It is called the e-Praman. In the e-Praman, we are providing the 4 types of authentication level, like password, biometrics based authentication, OTP based authentication, and Aadhaar based authentications. So any department can connect their services and utilize the authentication mechanism. And we also provide the single sign-on facility. For example, any citizen is registered in one website, government website, and they will get the username and password. And if you go to another website, so they want to create a new account. So through ePraman, we provide a single sign-on service. So if you created one password in one website, so that username password will be used for the another government website. That is also providing through the authentication framework. The authentication framework and the mobile framework is also gazetted by the Government of India in 2012. It is mandatory by the state and central government departments to offer their services through these channels. And another initiative is also taking for the digitalization in the field of education. In the field of education, CDAC is also provide many applications related to M-learning. We also provide a platform is called OLabs. eBasta is a application that is for the CBSE books and any other based boards books is available in the eBasta. And we also provide the OLabs. OLabs is basically the online lab where we will provide the experiments through 9th class to 12th class. So it experiment done by the students through mobile application. And we also provide many initiatives in the field of health. For example, eSanjeevani is in the COVID time, the eSanjeevani is there, and e-hospital is there, and many initiatives by the Government of India is provided. So basic aim, CDAC is basic aim to provide the services to the B2C and G2G, so that department can use their CDAC platform and offer their services. So this is basically the broad information about the CDAC and their schemes. And I would like also want to explain you, in the COVID time, we got the opportunity to provide our services to the digital mode. In the digital mode, Mr. Chaubey has also said that Umang is one of the good example for the mobile application, because in the Umang there is all type of mobile application, all government services available, and also the other departments like EPFO, where the citizen can bounce to check their status, EPFO status. Election Commission is also launched very good applications in the field of election related. In the digital payment, government in 2015 onwards, government has also launched the digital payments. In the digital payments, so that citizen can transfer their to any government department or can avail any services through the digital payment. So these are the application is very useful for the transformation of the digitalization. And also the good initiative by the Government of India is Aadhaar, because Aadhaar is a digital entity. Because in the digital entity, through Aadhaar you can provide your Aadhaar ID, it is automatically fetch your register information, your digital register information from the send information again and again in the state applications, because it is already there in the Aadhaar database. So they will fetch from the Aadhaar database. So these are the good initiative by the Government of India is taken in the field of the digitalization. And also the NIC is also provide the data center, cloud-based data center, so that any government department can host their application in the data center. For these all data center is basically 3-tier based data center. So these are the major initiative by the Government of India and CDAC in the field of provide the digitization of services to the state and central government. Any other specific questions? You can.
So thank you, Mr. Kapil. I think we'll come back to the questions gradually. I think just to sum up some of the valid points that we had, beginning with Andy, where he kind of highlighted the approach that VMware has taken over the years. That was very interesting. That one application for every device, every platform kind of a thing. Same approach they have kept over the years and have succeeded also in addressing these challenges. So that is there. I think what Mr. Rajgopal was able to highlight was this digital transformation is not only about talking about digital things. It is more about human transformation, which is very right. Ultimately we are trying to deliver services to the citizens who are the human subjects. Some of the great examples also from Santulan sir, Sunit sir, and you, Kapil sir, in terms of what has been done, as government during these challenging times. Over the years also, you tried to highlight how M-governance has changed the space, how that digital transformation has happened in that space. What we would also like to bring out here, maybe beginning with the either Santulan sir and then maybe Sunit sir and you. What Rajgopal talked about was human transformation. So what sort of challenges do you face internally, when it comes to transforming your human resources to respond to these type of challenges where they may not be that digitally sufficient? What do you do, to rise up to that challenge? So maybe Sir Santulan sir, if you could just highlight a few points, then we could move on to next panelist.
Can you please repeat the question, because there are some internet issues? Can you repeat the question?
I'm just asking, internally also we have human resources, right? And there are certain demands which were not there. So for example, during the COVID, how do you make all your organization rise up to the challenge and then address the challenge at hand? What sort of strategy do you take? Oh, I think we're lost.
No, but can you hear me?
Yeah,
Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear.
Yeah, voice is there. The question is very valid.
Okay.
The issue is basically that capacity building was a big challenge during COVID time, and I am very much grateful to the various private companies who has come to Delhi government to help. Many companies has worked on pro bono basis to give the support in development very quick applications. Like like Mr. Rajgopal said, this is lots of Mr. Bhattacharjee also told, lots of processes involved, security audit, VA analysis, lots of things are to be done, right? So the private sector has come to rescue Delhi government, and 3 or 4 very good companies has given their support in building our capacity in developing very fast application. When I say fast application development, it means that within 2 or 3 days, we have to develop and deploy the application, and it should be running without much hassle. Means the public citizen, they should not have any issue in accessing the information. And before that, filling the information is also very important. Earlier in COVID time, we were filling one information 10 times. Same information is coming from hospital, similar information is coming from revenue department, similar information is coming from SDM office. So one person was fed up of filling the same information in different forms, and they were likely to have mistakes, likely to have typing errors and other things. So creating one unified form which will give you all information in one time data entry, right? Because we are not 100% automatic, that information is coming automatically in the system. Somebody has to clean the information, right? So that kind of capacity building is very important, although it looks very small, but this is the root level information. Somebody has to fill the information. That information will be further, processed, and the decision taking kind of step will taken from there. But somebody has to enter the information, because data entry is not automated. When patient come, right? What kind of patient is, what is the demographic information? Is he COVID or he is simply having cold? So these all information are to be filled, right? So this information, that capacity building is done by pro bono by many companies, and in meantime we are also having now various training programs to develop in-house capacity. Delhi is one of the state where we have our own IT cadre, so that cadre is to be strengthened in such a way that such casualties will come in future also. So we should be ready for such casualties, and how to cope very fast with the situation. So yes, that capacity building was a real challenge, and grateful again to the companies, they came to our rescue, and now things are very much under control as long as data is concerned.
Thank you. So this brings, I think, focus to both Mr. Rajgopal and Andy. because you told they came to the rescue in terms of doing some pro bono work, and also, the response time was very fast. So Andy, what do you see? I mean, what sort of learnings are there for an organization like yours, and what do you want to carry forward from here? You've worked with government, I'm sure, during this time also. What was different, and what is the kind of learning that you need to, disseminate to the state governments, that this should be the approach to handle such situations?
Yeah, so one of the things that that we saw was the willingness to challenge every assumption within during the COVID period. Rethink what does data center infrastructure really mean? What does transformation really mean? What was heartwarming was how, like Santulan sir mentioned, how people came together to really support services and livelihood, putting the commercial interests as a secondary factor, but really looking at being able to not go with what were just the established norms, but how do we solve the problem together very quickly, to move towards one, getting the business continuity, getting the services out, getting this application out, making sure that that health services were available, essential services were available, and then using that platform to start thinking about how to be proactive for the next phase, right? So this is, in many ways, the big learning for us was how customers are looking at COVID, not just a challenge, but as an opportunity to learn and build that platform moving forward. And I think that mindset, that growth mindset, is really critical to be able to not just say, oh, this is an emergency, we need to figure out how do we deal with the emergency. Yes, it was an emergency, but it's actually now fast tracking a lot of the change. Use that emergency, turn the challenge into an opportunity to get ready to fast forward 2 years, 5 years from now, to in just matter of weeks. That's been one big learning, and it's been quite heartwarming.
Great. I think Mr. Rajgopal, your views.
Yeah, I mean, for me, this period was a great learning. See, we've been serving many private customers. We also serve Government of India big way. We work with CDAC as well. One of the things that I saw was that I think we want to take certain things that we learned from the government to actually to the private. I mean, it's the other way around. My personal experience has been that the decision making was at an accelerated pace. Even today, I don't see many of my customers who are in private sector move as quick as how government is moving. In spite of so many restrictions, audits, I mean, so much of everybody is watching them all the time, right? I mean, in that kind of situation, the way I have seen things move across many government organizations, it's an amazing thing. But strategically, I have learned one big thing. In the private sector, typically everybody has been looking at building platforms. This is basically, I have a bad word for it. I mean, it's brokerage business. So basically, you sit between a buyer and seller and try and make money. I mean, so that's what most private sectors are doing. I mean, but not very much has been done from the private sector directly to a consumer. So one thing that we need to learn from government, I mean, especially, and replicate it much more deeply, is the approach as a system. What do you mean by that? Is that, as you know, platforms are the ones which actually bring these two ecosystems, buying ecosystem and selling ecosystem together, or a consumer and a provider together. But I think the way we should look at it is not as a platform, but as a system where we make things work together. So there are a few ingredients required for making things to happen. I think all these things actually have to work together, and that's a system. So a few things that I have seen in government is a system-like approach, not a platform-like approach. system-like approach is, for example, what Mr. Kapil Kant said. It's like enabling all the mobile. That's a system, right? I mean, so it's not a platform. They're not trying to make money by being between the consumer and the provider. I mean, so I think government, in my view, should continue in this system kind of an approach and set an example for private sector to actually follow this. That we don't need these broker platforms in middle to actually make this happen, but we can actually use digital technologies to directly impact the citizens. That's my learning last few months, and I've seen it in Ministry of Health. I've seen a great deal of work, I mean, in Election Commission and many other departments. I mean, I think we should take these big things that are being done in the government actually to the private sector. I mean, and I have learned a lot.
That's great. I think great to hear this. Very valid point, I think, in terms of the platform versus the services kind of an approach. Yeah. So I think with this, Sunit sir, I would just like to, what just was elaborated by both Andy and Rajgopal. Do you think this kind of decision making that happened during this emergency kind of a situation, would you be able to sustain it? And is this a kind of a mindset change that has happened, or it was just for the time being, because of the necessity, etc., that happened? How do you see this mindset change sustaining in the long run going forward?
Mindset change is definitely required, but we are prepared for that. I can tell you one of the experience we have during this. Actually, we are basically double heated, COVID and then that Amphan disaster. The Calcutta is the worst heated, and it is terrible. Every network, the telecom network, was totally down. So during that time, IT department has taken a pivotal role, because all the network which is connected with the data centers or statewide network, it is down because of fiber. We had the data center is connected with 10 Gbps, the NxtGen network. So IT secretary took the decision to include all the service provider to connect in the state data center as well as SWAN. So it was done within few hours, the same day within few hours. But the underlying fact is that we are ready with our own IP pool, with the multi-homing, with the upstream ISPs. Had it not there, it was not possible. So there are a lot of data centers are there. So if they are not having the own IP pool, and if something happens because of this natural calamity like Amphan, when all the telecom network will be down, so this will be the only way to survive. Another thing is that during COVID time, our flagship portal Joy Bangla is an umbrella portal for social for onboarding of all these social pension schemes. So during that time, we implemented, deployed in cloud platform within 2 to 3 days. All our team, the NIC team, our WTL team, and finance development team, they worked round the clock to make it happen. Imagine you are hosting, you are developing, you are hosting everything within 3 days. It was totally unprecedented, and our team worked round the clock. We are having champions in our state data center. We are having champions in our IT department. We are having champions in other department also. Perhaps I think that we require champions, because say the most important part is that, say, if we want to deploy our cloud platform in a right way, then we require a cloud native application. When I'm asking about cloud native application, it's not so simple. You have to develop the microservices. So there are lot of sensitization, lot of capacity development is required. And during COVID time, a lot of applications are hosted, the lot of sensitization, then capacity building was developed. These fire and emergency services are integrated with this, integrated through this e-district platform. It was shifted from SSDG platform to e-district platform. So it was a challenge, but we have tackled it through the capacity development program.
Right. So I think one important point that has come out, sir, was the thing about champions. Basically, when it comes to decision making, if you have a backing of a champion within the department who is also a decision maker, it makes the difference, in moving things in a way which is not refutable. So I think if you go to CDAC, what I see, how was CDAC supported in terms of the mobile first approach? Did anything change due to COVID situation? Whether there was more focus on mobile first, or whether there was the as usual approach because there is a lot of saturation already? How do you see the changes happening? How would CDAC continue? What has changed during the COVID times for you?
So basically, the mobile first approach. In this mobile first approach is a major challenge to recreate the website, because the earlier website is very heavily and very big pages for the forms are very big. So now in the mobile first, we have to change the form set also, because in the mobile phone we have to screen is very limited space, so we have to cover all the important information in the mobile phone. So the department has customized their forms for the mobile enable, and Government of India has also started the initiative called, they are giving the policies like the mobile governance framework in 2012. In this framework, it is mandatory to all the government department. They have to enable the government website through the mobile phone, and they have used the HTML5 technology or any other open source technology. Government is also focusing on the open source development, and we also in the COVID time we have developed many applications that is required in the citizen point of view related to health sector, related to COVID information. So that application is rapidly developed by the CDAC or any other government organizations in the field of related to health, education sectors. We also provide many platforms and applications so that Ministry of Education can provide their services through the students. And we also organize many sessions to the teachers. In the teachers, how to they can teach through the digital media. So they can we will provide the many trainings to the teachers so that they can easily adopt the new platform that is provided by the many government departments. And government is also provide many platform for the digitalization in the COVID period, like they will provide the video conferencing facility to government departments, so they can use the video conferencing facility. They are also created the NIC is also provided the e-district. The e-district NIC is provided the e-office. E-office is basically the tool for they can provide to the government officers so that they can work from their home to the e-office application, and many other initiatives taken by the in the field of the COVID time. And the major challenge by the citizen point of view to availing of services in the COVID time, because citizen is not aware. Awareness is a major challenge, because many government department and state and central government department has launched many schemes for the citizen, but awareness is a major challenge. According to me, is a major challenge, because citizen is not aware what type of services are available in the government departments, and what are the schemes are available in the government departments, and what are the mobile applications are available. So they can access the mobile application and access the government services anywhere and anytime. So there is no need to visit the government office for during this time. So they can apply through the mobile application or desktop media. So in the mobile first, according to me, it is basically the UI design is very important, user experience. for the user design for the mobile application, because it is a limited space. So department for we have to complete the all information in the limited space. So department is also changed the format of earlier traditional format for the applying the services, government services. They can change the format, they can change the input taking by the citizen through the mobile application.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for that. So right now, sir, we have all discussed, in terms of what we have done, what was achieved, the good things about, rising up to the occasion and all. One common question to all the panelists that I would like to throw is, especially, the government side of the panelists, what do you think would have been, or could have been better, once COVID has arrived? You might have suddenly realized, that if this particular thing was already in place, maybe we were better prepared. What are one or two, main things, maybe briefly in 2-3 minutes, if you could just elaborate, and then we could move to, also Andy and Rajgopal, because they would have also experienced something similar, with the disruption that came in suddenly without warning. So, sir, with Santulan, sir, could you please just elaborate? Yeah.
Very nice, sir. The basic thing what I would like to have if the infrastructure where government was completely dependent on NIC. NIC got wonderful infrastructure, no doubt about it, but we had no backup. If anything happens. So infrastructure is one thing which we could have elevated, and second, in-house capacity of application development. Two things I will always say, that if we have in-house capacity, then and we have very good infrastructure, then work could have been divided in better way. With the same infrastructure, it was very difficult to scale up the application. The expectation of the public was very high. Even our expectation was very high. But due to infrastructure capacity, there was an issue. But now we have sorted out. But there was I would like to have this thing could have
been better. Okay. I think one thing, sir, you have in your favor, you already mentioned, you have a dedicated IT cadre. Maybe expansion of that, and also maybe the other states, if they are listening, that could be one model. Have a dedicated IT cadre and then have that in-house capacity that you are wanting for. So, Sunit, sir, if you could, yeah. So if you would like to highlight what would you have in place if given an option before we start off.
First of all, the cloud first strategy of government. So all the applications need to be hosted only in cloud platform. Number one. And regarding the application development part, we should have balance of our own team as well as the third-party software developers. But the case is that if we develop these applications on rapid application development platform, say we are having the RAD platform like Expert, we are having the Service Plus platform of NIC, can develop these applications in an agile way.
Okay.
So if we think about the e-district application, it was developed on service-oriented architecture. That's okay, but it's not totally the API-driven application platform. So you have to develop. We have a lot of change requests comes, so it takes a lot of time. But if we develop this application on RAD platform, then I think the application development cycle and a lot of issues will be eliminated to a great extent. And of course, that hosting only on cloud platform. But important part is the security. You must have the security operations center and 2.0 standard. Because the security is the important thing, because a lot of the state-sponsored that hacking is going on. Every day we are encountering with this lot of traffics. So if we have a robust security operations center like what we are having, then it can prevent a lot of the hacking. And this Kamal is having this cyber security center of excellence. So it's doing. It is connected with the NCIIPC and certain. We are getting the advisories in the right time. We are deploying that that advisories in a right manner, so that everything is streamlined. All you need is to sync with these stakeholders.
Okay. Okay. So I think what I was able to make out particularly is, you mentioned the API-based approach. So
Yes.
I think, and also the rapid application development framework. So basically, you need some sort of modular approach. That's what you're suggesting, and APIs to be in place so that that data exchange would not be a barrier. If you develop something new, and there is something already existing having API capabilities, then it would make things easier.
And open
okay,
API capability.
Open, yeah. So open architecture platform also. So what was the challenges for the CDAC? If Kapil sir, if you could elaborate a little bit.
Major challenge is basically the infrastructure, because now in the COVID time, everybody is require the infrastructure. Every department is require the infrastructure. So NIC is providing the cloud, and also department and department is also state and central government department is also have a state data center. So they will also provide the infrastructure on the cloud, and the department is also created there is on public cloud and the government cloud. So government is also advised to all the state and central government, so they can host their applications on the government cloud. And the second major part is the security. Thus, in the security, CERT is also given the different type of advisory, and CERT in panel agency is timely audit by all the government solutions. And secondly, the CDAC is also the CERT in panel agency. They also audit end-to-end audit for the mobile applications or solutions developed by the various government departments. So the major in the COVID time, the major challenges faced is basically the infrastructure, and secondly is a rapid development that I already said, because in the 2 to 3 days we have to provide the application related to health, related to COVID-19 information, any other application for so that government department citizen can avail services without going to the government offices. Because this time it is a rapid development is a very important part, and CDAC will provide very development tools so for the government department for G2G services, so that department can rapidly develop their applications. CDAC has also provide various platforms so that department does not go to anywhere. They can easily provide the services through the mobile channels. Like I already said, you the mobile seva. In the mobile seva, we have connected with the more than 3,000 government departments. They can use our infrastructure. And in the last 4 to 5 months, the load is heavily increased. Load is just double, because government is sending the advisories, government is send the notifications to the citizen. Citizen is also interacting with the government department through our short code. We are a single number like 166. So these are the channels. So the infrastructure very important, because we require a cloud-based infrastructure, so that we can when the load have been increases, so we can increase our VM, or we can increase our CPU in the real time or runtime environment.
Yeah. So I think some common points across. I think what you said, Santulan sir said, and Sunit sir said, more or less. If we could quickly have 2 minutes each from Andy and Rajgopal in terms of challenges, then audience questions could be taken also. We have a little bit of left. Andy, please, if you could quickly summarize.
Sure. So the example I gave earlier with Senitex is a classic example. It's a good example, because Senitex as an organization had not really gone to modern infrastructure, but they were modernizing their applications. They were making sure that the applications were capable, were flexible, were open enough, were using open APIs, that when the situation actually arrived, they were not tied to one data center. They were able to very quickly move to the cloud to be able to service their customers without a lot of effort on their side, right? Just that creating that forward-looking thought of getting your applications to be cloud ready whether you deploy them within your own data center, your preferred on-prem OLO provider, or then have the choice to be able to move seamlessly. I think that's one of the big learnings and success stories.
Rajgopal, you.
So I think, I mean, we can only control the controllables, right? The uncontrollable piece cannot be controlled. For example, when we look at infrastructure crunch, I mean, this was not anticipated. And, you know, it's not that this infrastructure is sitting idle with people and, you know, we can just go and consume it. So that has come as a surprise. But I think what, your question was, I mean, if you look back, I mean, what could we have done better?
Right.
Two things which come to my mind, which most of our customers are aware and didn't do, was planning. The big problem is that a lot of them did not invest in disaster recovery. This was not a nature-induced. I mean, it is a nature-induced disaster, but it's, you know, this is not unavailability of IT infrastructure. It's unavailability of people which has created problems. I think one thing we could have done better is disaster planning, which was there as a concept for many years. I mean, this was always thought about, but was never implemented. The second thing is remote worker. See, this work from home is nothing but remote worker, and we've been working from home. Like, I joined in Dell. I worked for Dell for almost 5 years. I was second employee of Dell. I worked from Chennai. There was no office. I mean, it was a remote office. So remote worker concept was there throughout, but we were not prepared. I mean, of course, we had to scale it when it came to work from home, but most organizations were not prepared. I mean, please don't think that this is related to government or anything, but in terms of my customers, I have what I tell them is I have benefited a lot because we didn't go down during the COVID time. We run 4 data centers. We didn't go down. We were operational fully, and all my employees were operational from March 22nd onwards from home. This was because we had thought of a disaster recovery plan, and part of the disaster recovery plan was remote working because I mean, that was so these are the two things that I think we could have done better, but of course, I mean, I don't think, I mean, anybody anticipated the infrastructure demand, right? If they had anticipated, they would have prepared anyway. So there is a sudden acceleration, which is fine. I mean, now we can fix it, I mean, very quickly. So what we're trying to do on our side is that, see, we work, so BSNL's cloud is our cloud, right? So we work through BSNL. So what I met BSNL's MD and I met their management, and what I've proposed is, let's not limit ourselves to these 1 or 2 data centers that we operate 6 of them now, but you know, what I proposed is, can we, if they can give us space, we want to do a state cloud now. See, earlier there were state data centers created. Now what we want to do is try and create state clouds. So if we create state clouds, we can work with the state IT department much more closely, understand their growth path, and then be prepared to serve it better. So I'm sure, I mean, we are progressing very rapidly there. We actually want to go right up to the district level and to have an edge cloud enabled, so that, you know, in the future, when we have such requirements, I mean, we can do it much better. So there are 644 districts, but I think 236 districts is what we've identified to take our edge cloud. But the first step for us is a state cloud, that is a small cloud in every state, whether in a BSNL premise or in any other government department premise, specifically catering to the government. This is what we want to do.
That's a great idea. In fact, I think if state people are listening, maybe, you know, that's a food for thought actually. So Pragya, I think if there is any question queue, we would like to have them now, and the panelists could be subjected to the questions.
Yeah, Rajesh. So there are a few questions that I have shared over the chat box. There are a lot of comments people are sharing. So most of them are asking about the rural connectivity. And infrastructure is there across villages and cities. So what is lacking in terms of digital transformation in rural areas? and semi-urban?
I come from telecom and computer background. Can I answer that?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So I think, I mean, the people who have asked me are not really aware. India has one of the lowest cost per GB in terms of internet. I mean, and that's what has made internet available at. We are the second largest country with the number of people on internet. I mean, period. The way you should look at it is the amount of progress we have made. It is amazing. No country has got as many people, except one country, as many people connected to internet as we have. So yes, there are still pockets. You know, we did some work for Election Commission of India, and I realized that elections actually happen in some places where maybe there are villages with 5 families or 10 families. It is very difficult. I mean, so maybe in terms of if you cater to, I mean, A, B, C, D, E kind of cities and villages, I think we are well covered in A, B, C, D kind of villages. So there are still some small villages where the connectivity is not good. In my view, my own personal experience, I have a better internet experience when I go out of a city because my cellular phone is less choked. So I think we should look at it very positively. We have a very clear direction. There are 2 or 3 broadband projects from government which are going very deep into the country. Every taluk is being connected. So it's only just a matter of time that we will be there. The point that I wanted to really make is that India has more homes connected on fiber than any other country. India has got second largest number of people connected to internet. So I think we've come a long way. We will continue to not serve a small population, but I think we already serve majority of the population. So this is positive for us. And we've been successful in actually pushing the cost of data down. We are one of the lowest in the world. And this is what is driving that penetration. So I don't think it's a matter of concern, it's a matter of time.
I would like to add one thing. As per the NOFN policy, National Fiber Optics Policy, all the blocks are connected to the panchayats through high-speed network. So in all states, implementation is going on phases. So with the completion of all this NOFN in all the blocks and panchayats, I think a lot of problem will be eliminated. But first and foremost thing is that the penetration of mobile is excellent for India. So here, if the state implement that single mobile platform, the single platform for onboarding of all the services to citizens, like we are having the single mobile platforms, like these Umang, like the Telangana app, like Karnataka app, we are having the single mobile platform. It is not yet gone live, but it's ready for going live. So a lot of services are onboarded on single mobile platforms, and perhaps the mobile can penetrate the rural connectivity in a big way, other than this NOFN connectivity.
Yeah, can I say a little bit? I talked to various service providers in Delhi, and the issue is what Pragya was telling, that low cost is forcing them not to upgrade the infrastructure. The service providers are doing with the same old infrastructure. This is why the quality of the service is not getting improved in many areas, because the low cost things are not helping them. They are not much funds with them. But I was told when you're talking to many service providers in Delhi, they said that money, the funds which are coming, they're just able to keep them running. There's no fund for upgrading the infrastructure through which the quality and the user experience will increase. So if you say sometimes your bandwidth goes down, and they say there are lots of choking is coming there, even in Delhi, I'm telling you. So there should be some kind of balancing act, although I'm not expert in that, where the upgradation of the infrastructure is the part of the service. NPL is running very bad shape in Delhi, you know, because they don't have fund. Right? Everybody is running on Fiverr. So we will face this problem today or tomorrow if we don't upgrade the infrastructure with the time. Right? So this is a continuous process we should follow.
One of the important part is that the IPv6 adoption, because more you penetrate, more you require the IP address, and there is a scarcity of IPv4. So IPv6 deployment is dual stack is going on, and all the telecom service providers are having that IPv6 compliant. So if we deploy, because the migration for states is still going on, we have deployed IPv6 in state data center, we have deployed in state wide area network, but it's a journey, we have to go long. So when the IPv6 adoption across the state will be implemented totally, then a lot of issues will be eliminated.
Yes. So Pragya, any further questions, please?
More or less, they are talking about capacity building of people and training of people, those who are into this space. The new technologies are coming, and we really need to, build the capacity on latest technologies and emerging technologies. So the question people are asking, what government is doing about it? What are the states doing about it?
Okay, so
the departments are adopting a lot of this video conferencing solution, which is available commonly, like the Microsoft is having Team, then a lot of other platforms are there. Cisco is having Webex, and there's a lot of other similar video conferencing software is there. So there is a large adoption of this software so that people across the length and breadth of states of the country can be connected in the conference. And during this pandemic time, this type of solutions and this type of virtual meeting is deployed to a great extent, and it is very useful tool for capacity building process also. We are deploying this tool for training of our remote stakeholders in a great extent.
okay.
So basically for the emerging technology, now the industry is moved to artificial intelligence, blockchain based application, quantum computing. So Government of India has also initiated many schemes related to emerging technology so that state government department can change their old technology to the new technologies like blockchain. And CDAC is also providing time to time trainings to the state government department related to latest technology. And CDAC is also provide training to the citizens so that department can easily convert their application with the emerging technologies.
Okay, fine. I think there is one more question that was there in terms of the improvement and feedback mechanism that that is being asked. That what is being done about improving the services that you already have, and also the apps or the applications that you already have. What is the kind of feedback capture that happens and how it is implemented? So
our state is concerned, we are having the CMO grievance and redressal portal. Actually the building block of this portal is e-Samadhan, and e-Samadhan, through e-Samadhan you are getting a lot of issues which are highlighted, which are coming, and then solutions can be done on an immediate basis. Like this portal is integrated with all the projects, all the applications deployed by state governments. So whenever any issues like the e-district portal, any issues are there from citizen, any grievances are there, it is not redressed properly. It is coming to grievance portal, and immediately within a time-bound manner, it is resolved. Similarly, all the other applications, they are also connected, integrated, and that's why the government, it is so useful that this year government has got that Scotch Platinum Award.
I have a point to make here. I think government should adopt use of more bots. I mean, because there is, like we are using a speech bot for, a whole lot of things. I mean, one of the things that we are doing, one of the projects we have internally is that we want to remove the L1 team. I mean, basically upgrade the L1 team to L2 team, and L1 should be done by a bot itself. In my view, since government has to handle very large number of people, speech and text bots and some automation can actually dramatically improve the response. One of the things I believe is that if somebody has come with a problem, giving them a good ear and then giving him a periodic update is good. I mean, is the first thing that is expected, because not all problems can be solved overnight. So I think if governments can adopt a lot of speech and text bots, these don't cost anything, and they're very simple to deploy. I think we can improve the citizen experience on feedback and issues that are being raised.
I agree, Rajgopal, because I also see there's a lot of prevalence now in terms of chatbots, for example, self-learning chatbots, and some kind of layering built in, where everything need not go to a human. The machine itself is able to address a lot of concerns and the feedback that is coming. And it could also, enable a very automated kind of a dissemination of data to the government side also, with the structure that is defined for that particular chatbot. So Santulan sir, you're wanting to say something, please.
Yeah. This is very good idea to get feedback, and chatbots are one of the front-end things which can help. Second thing is call center. We also setting up call center to answer the simple questions of the public, because human interaction is also very important. Chatbot is a wonderful thing, no doubt. We are also implementing chatbot in our e-district and other applications. But call center, we have done a doorstep delivery of services in Delhi. In that project, we have started call center services where we just simple answer the questions. Like somebody says, how do I get my birth certificate? Just tell him what are the process, And when some human being is telling there is some satisfaction, yes, my work is getting there. What kind of certificate you want? Where you want to go? Do you want a person to come to your home? And they say how this feedback will go. And they also tell why aapke yahan nahi hota, aapke nahi hota, aapke sunta nahi hai. So that's giving ear is important. And whatever question we are not able to answer, we write down and get the answer from department, and we call back them back. If this is what your query, that's the answer. So
Yeah.
call centers and chatbot combined are the good feedback system, a good answering system to the public. That's what I feel.
Okay. So I think this was the last question that I was able to see. If there's any more, we could take that up. I think the 5 minutes are left still in that case. Yeah, okay. So there is one more question. Yeah.
Because you please go ahead.
Yeah, so there is this question about cloud center. So what is the benefit of a state cloud center compared to using a center cloud resource apart from data ownership? So what he wants to understand from the panelist, I think the person asking the question, that if there is already a cloud available, say at the central level, so there was this idea of state clouds that Rajgopal just suggested. Now, what is the benefit apart from state owning that data, so that you could still do by creating a specific dedicated instance for yourself? So that question somebody would like to take.
If I may, so I think if you take India, I mean, in India, there are certain responsibilities with central government, certain responsibilities with state government, and it is only center is not in itself whole, or only state in itself is not. So there are certain things that a center will look. I mean, so their thought process, their outlook will be limited to their scope, their deliverables. But states have got their own specific agendas. And if you see in India, almost every state is different, and every state has got different problems to address. So basically, what we are trying to do is that remove the dependency of centralized piece, so that always being distributed is better thing to happen. Because if you have a centralized thing, you always have a, I mean, the central thing goes down or central thing gets choked, like, I mean, you have your own set of problems. So, so for example, if central data center goes down, I mean, you bring down all the states together. So we were working on a very good project with Ministry of Health. Health is a state subject and a central subject. You know, central subject more in terms of a policy, but actual implementation happens at the state level. So in my view, it is most important that states takes the first lead in terms of the health, and you know, center looks at the policy aspect. So center has little bit of data, but you know, most of the data is actually held by the state, and state monitors and manages it for the enterprise. So I think way forward is distributed computing, not really centralized computing like what it happened in the mainframe times.
Yeah, I would just like to focus regarding that state enterprise bus, where all the department will be integrated with that architecture. So now you are having the land records, the data, you are having the registration data, you are having the other data. So if you have all the applications, if you consolidate all the applications within your control, then integration with each and everyone, because tomorrow you don't know that, say today you are integrating with the 5 applications, tomorrow you may have to integrate with the 10 applications. So if you have the applications in your state cloud, all the applications, then integration will be more easier, and the deployment of that state enterprise architecture will also be easier. You may have that disaster recovery plan in separate places, but you should have your own that cloud platform.
Okay, I think valid point here as well, sir, in terms of ease of, you know, deployment, you having the control and then other things. One interesting question was there, we could quickly like to take, you know, some user has, some audience has asked that when it comes to availing services through social media, you know, the rural populace is not very conducive to it, and you know, kind of refrains from using social media for availing government services. So what could be the reason behind it? That is one question. So if Santulan sir, you would like to take this, or any Rajgopal?
Yeah. Okay. Just I want to understand availing service through social media. What does it mean actually? Because delivery of the service can be through social media. I pointed that using WhatsApp, I can deliver the certificate.
I get you, right, sir. So mainly, you know, through social media, what I have seen, it is mainly the mechanism for grievance redressal in most of the cases.
And so, grievance, believe me, grievance on social media is the best thing, I tell you. Highest people in the system answer you, which is never happening in real life. You're not able to get, when you put a grievance on Twitter and other thing, the topmost people from his side, somebody answers, and believe me, on 50-60%, I don't know actual data, work gets done. Even in my government, somebody told us, Twitter pe complaint aayi, dekho kya hua uska. And give the immediately update. So that action is very fast, no doubt about it. As long as the hitch is there, that social media mein likhe ke na likhe, that is the only thing. And by the passage of time, people will understand that social media has got one component of public image. No, so people have to respond over there. So this is very good media, and as long as rural population is considered they're not used to have Twitter or Facebook, they will definitely use this channel very soon. And there's some hitch, I understand. I also started Twitter very late, but when it is there, you use at least for your grievance handling. Even for private sector also, when I got something, it is not happening, you write a Twitter and immediately somebody stops you and say, "Ha, bhai, kya dikkat hai? I am sorry for that. I am looking at it," and your work more or less gets done. So it is a powerful tool, social media, and we have to use it.
Fine, sir. Fine. So I think Rajgopal wanted to say. Yeah.
So we have launched an app called Incolab. I mean, so basically, the inspiration is from Incolab, right? I mean, so we wanted to address 3 issues with social media. One, data privacy, because today, I mean, I feel very pained when even when I write to Chief Minister of Karnataka, I write on to a Gmail address, and that's not correct, because 8 or 9 companies in the world are already bigger than most of the countries, and the reason why they are bigger is because of the data they have, personal data they have from the citizens. So I'll tell you how big the problem is. If you take these 8 companies and add their valuation, they have penetrated to 50% of global population. So if you divide 50% of global population with the valuation, they have already got 5 lakh rupees worth of data from every individual across 50% of the global. So the biggest problem with social media is actually privacy. So what we're trying to do is ensure that the privacy concerns are addressed through Incolab. Second thing is that so what happens in Facebook is that you have your work colleague, you have your friend, you have your family. So but when we interact with our families, with our friends, and when we are in work, I mean, we actually don't interact as the same person. We interact differently with different people. So social media doesn't allow you to do it. So we've introduced something called personas. And the third thing that we wanted to do was increase utility of the social media. So that you can do far more number of things on the same platform, same system, rather than just do entertainment stuff. So I think WhatsApp is evolving into that plane where some utility is now emerging out of WhatsApp. So what we're doing is we brought Facebook, WhatsApp, and Dropbox together, because these are the 3 modes that people use social media. And if we can do all the 3 on Incolab, we can do it with privacy, with applying Indian laws on it, and you can do a whole lot of utility around it by doing a lot of small apps within that. So that's our effort. I mean, I don't know, it's a big task for us in the sense, I mean, we are taking on Facebook and these guys. I don't know whether we'll win, but we'll give it a shot. We'll give a big shot around it and see where it goes. I've got a little bit of support from government already. I mean, not in terms of money and all, in terms of adoption. I will request all the state governments to take a look at it. I think we can transform the employee productivity in the government. We can do a whole lot of things with that. Sorry, I started selling my app, but I couldn't help it, because somebody media, I was.
Okay. I think we are already over with time. I'm sorry, because there's a lot to talk and say still. I can see that, but I think Pragya, I think over to you to conclude and close this session.
Thank you so much, Rajesh. Thank you so much, Santulan sir, Kapil sir, Rajgopal sir, Sunit sir, and Andy. Thank you so much for joining us for a great discussion. And like Rajesh said, that there is no, since because of this amount of time, we cannot discuss the entire thing that we have to discuss. There are a lot of issues, there are a lot of challenges the state has in terms of implementation, in terms of training, in terms of other issues. So thank you everyone for joining us today, and we will summarize the discussion in the form of report, and we will share with the entire stakeholders, with all our attendees. Thank you for sharing your questions. Thank you for being a very good participants and attendees. And we will keep you posted. If you have any questions, please share offline. We will be happy to get them answered with the panelists and the experts. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all the panelists for being here. It was a very great time.
Thank you.
And a great. Thank you.
Thank you.